How the Battle of Midway went down is something Hollywood couldn't even make up. The Americans knew an attack was coming somewhere from the Japanese Navy, somewhere codenamed AF, based on intercepted communications. Problem is, they didn't know what AF was. This guy, Joe Rochefort, an American codebreaker, had a hunch that it was Midway Island, but he had to have a way to prove it. What he devised was a stroke of genius. They put out a fake emergency message saying that Midway Island was having issues with its water system. Sure as shit, they intercepted a message from the Japanese later that day saying AF was having water system issues. They knew where the attack was coming. The American strike group then proceeded to set sail from Hawaii to lie in wait a couple hundred miles off Midway Island. The Japanese attacked Midway as expected, but it didn't do that much damage. Their leadership made the fateful decision of stripping their reserve force of weapons that were meant for attacking ships in favor of land attack weapons. Not long after, they got a radio transmission from a scout plane saying an American strike group had been spotted, something they were not expecting at all. They were expecting this days later. The Japanese leadership decided to further delay the launch of their planes in favor of switching back to ship attack weapons from the land attack weapons that were already being loaded on. Little did they know that the Americans had already launched their planes and were looking for the Japanese carriers. American torpedo bombers would strike first, but their attack would be swatted away pretty harmlessly. They were all shot out of the sky. The dive bombers were somewhere completely different and had no idea where to look for the Japanese carriers. By a stroke of sheer luck, they found a lone Japanese destroyer in the middle of the ocean and decided to follow its wake, leading them right back to the Japanese carrier group. Bear in mind, the Japanese planes are all still below deck, being reloaded with ship attack weapons. They'd been caught with their pants down. In little under 5 minutes, the American dive bombers set 3 of the Japanese carriers ablaze. Hours later, they got the 4th. One of the American carriers, the Yorktown, was hit, but not sunk. In just a few hours, the tide of the war had completely turned. No longer were the Japanese able to project power into the Pacific, and they'd be on the defensive for the rest of the war.